So you find yourself out in the desert. Everything's dry, hasn't rained for days, late summer. Is there anything to eat out here? Is there any way to survive, have a little bit of nutrition? Let's go find out, shall we? This is where a little late season education can come in handy. Everything looks just completely dead and dry. So if there's food, where is it? Well, this right here is what's left of the sago lily this time of year. And that being out of ground makes it difficult to determine where the sago lily bulb is, but if we can get to the bulb, that's some food. And this being right there on the ground, I'd say it's probably got a bulb right down in here somewhere. But it's going to be difficult to find if we don't have a flower stem attached to it. So what we want to look for is a flower stem that is still sticking out of the ground. And so there we have one that is intact. So right there, several inches under the ground, we have some food. And so that's a possibility of looking for something that we can eat. So we want to mark that so that we can come back and find that piece. I'm not going far, so maybe that rock right there will do it. And I saw another evidence out here. Look at that, even the cactus is just dried up. Not much spores there. However, look at this. There's some biscuit root. There's another biscuit root. So what we need to do is get to the roots, get down deep. So here's an old branch from a juniper. That's going to be a sturdier piece of wood than sagebrush, which is very brittle and will fall apart. So with this one, we might be able to dig. Put that over here. And there we have another sago lily. They seem to have a symbiotic relationship with sagebrush, so you'll often see them under the sagebrush. Back over there, let's see if we can see that on the camera, but right about there, looks like another biscuit root. Let's go check that out. Yep, sure enough, hasn't broken off yet, so there's some food under there. There's another one right there. There's another one right there. So, and another one right up there. So we had a pretty good year for biscuit root out here, so there are some potentials. So let's find out how hard it is to find that food. This is one of the reasons that I love to teach about plant identification throughout the year. Part of it is getting to know the plant as it grows, understanding the stages, but identifying the parts of the plant that are above ground when you can't see any green is really valuable because there's still food down underneath. Also, if you understand what the plant looks like when it's dead, then you know what to expect that might be growing there come spring. So that's also a valuable bit of insight. So let's jump in and dig a little bit here, see if we can find something to eat. My little marker wasn't very helpful, but fortunately there are plenty of other opportunities out here. So I'm going to use the stiffer part of the stick for this, and we've got a sago lily right here. Right over here we have the leftover paintbrush. my paintbrush, paintbrush, paintbrush. A lot of that back here, and that's not going to have much under the ground for us, but the sago lily may just have something. In this ground out here in Eagle Mountain, a shovel is not going to be very helpful. If I had my digging stick, that definitely would be more helpful. But notice I'm digging not too close to that stem, because I've learned over the years with the sago lily that they don't always go straight down. Sometimes they'll curve a bit, especially if they have a great big rock underneath them. The bulb will be down over here somewhere and then kind of curve up and around to come to the surface. So you want to be real careful as you're digging, and preferably dig down out away from the plant first. And you might have to dig quite a ways. And one of the things that I like to do with a situation like this is find a nice big rock, big flat rock that can help me dig. Because it'll clear away that dirt a lot faster than a little stick will. What I've found as I've studied this plant over the years is in the late winter, early spring, these bulbs will be 2 or 3 inches under the ground. But later in the summer and the fall, they seem to be deeper, sometimes as far as 10 or 12 inches down. And like I say, they don't always go straight down. I might even be too close to this one already. As you can see, if this were a survival situation, there's some work involved. Once you dig a few, you'll get kind of a feel for it and know when to spend your time, but probably be better to find a shady spot to be doing this. It's almost like an archaeological dig where you want to use different tools and be careful. The closer you get to the artifact that you're digging. You can see the plant move there. Because of the rocks underneath, right? Well, I had to dig a little bit off camera because my camera overheated, but found one of the bulbs, a small new one, probably just this first year. There's a little bit of food for us right there, and that came out when I pulled at the side here, and I can see these little remnants that would go on the end of that bulb there, pointing up toward the ground, the thinner part. So that tells me that we've got more than one in here, and that new fresh one is going to be, this one that I found up close would be the one that would be easy to reach in the spring. Also, I don't know how well you can see it there, but that is right now turning a little bit that direction. So it's heading over here somewhere. They are very brittle, very fragile, so you want to be real careful about digging. So I'll dig some more and then bring the camera back and show you what I found. Growing up as a kid, I loved playing in the dirt, and maybe that just never went away. but I get excited about some of these little things. So I wanted to show you this. I dug a little bit more, and here we've got this rock. See, it's moving that, and it's wedged in there pretty good. So this tells you a little bit about where that bulb is growing. You pull that out, and that was wedged all the way under there. Moved this quite a bit, so it went down, took a turn that way, and now because of that rock, it has to go back that direction. So now we've changed directions again, and it does appear to me from digging this that the plant started maybe with a seed or whatever, started here, and it's going down and weaving amongst rocks. That's my impression, rather than the bulb starting way down and weaving its way up. So, only been digging for a few minutes, haven't wasted a whole lot of energy. Oh, look at that, there it is. There it is right there. Very curious. It is not very far down. We're looking at what, maybe 5-6 inches below the surface, and there we are. So here you can see a twisty little bulb. See how that broke off? That's what you got to be careful of when you're digging for these. They're fragile even when they're green, but especially when they're not. So after the bulb has spent all of its energy, the flower has spent all its energy and gone to seed and now gone dormant, this bulb is smaller than it was probably in the beginning of the year this year. And that's what we got. So now we just need, what, 20-30 more of these so that we can survive the day. Now I'm familiar with the plant, of course, so I know what I've dug up here, but if you're not that familiar with the sago lily, then you want to be careful that you're not finding a death camas and mistaking it for sago lily. The shape of that bulb tells me that this is a sago lily. Of course, I pulled it off of an old sago lily stem, which I'm familiar with, and so that's another clue that tells me that this is a sago lily bulb and not death camas. Death camas flower, after it's done, will look more like the paintbrush that we showed earlier than it will look like the sago lily. But if we want to be absolutely sure, the easiest way is to cut this in half and take a look at it that way. But I don't really want to eat all of that paper skin, so I want to get that off of there. And then cut that in half. Sago lily will never have more than 3 or 4 rings. Very thick. You can see there. Hope you can see that. They're thick rings. They're not thin and papery. And you got 1, 2, 3 in the middle. Like I say, I know what I'm eating. It's a nice little treat for the day. It tastes a lot better than what I've got back here, the juniper berries. And those that are on the tree are not ripe. Most of the ripe ones have fallen already down below. So there you have it. There are some things that can be eaten out here in the desert, even when everything looks just absolutely dead. It's just a matter of being familiar with the plant and then understanding how to get to the food part of the plant that is available. Thanks for watching today. I appreciate it. Click subscribe, like, share it with those who enjoy such adventures, and get out there and learn a little bit. Have a great day.